Thanks for tuning in to Double Tap here on YouTube. If you're not already a subscriber to the channel, you're going to want to do that because we've got some pretty cool stuff lined up down the road, including our holiday gift guide. In this video from this week's episode of Double Tap TV on AMI TV, we welcome the VP of Software and Corporate Business Development for Freedom Scientific, the developers of JAWS. Matt Ater joins us. He previews what's good to look forward to in the 2023 edition.
You're watching Double Tap TV.
You know, Stephen, earlier on in the show, before we spoke to Matt Ater, we were talking all about headsets. And the connection, of course, is because in order to use JAWS, you need to be able to actually hear what JAWS is saying. But, you know, how important is the actual headset itself when it comes to using JAWS? I mean, most computers these days, even monitors, have pretty decent speakers built on.
Yeah, well, that's a great point, actually. Yeah, why not just use the speakers, right? Well, think about it this way. You've heard a screen reader, and you've heard me working on the screen reader when we've been in person together, right? How irritating for you is that voice? And that's the way to think about it, right? I mean, if you live with someone, and I mean, it's even worse actually if you've got someone in the family who also uses a screen reader. In my case, my wife, she has her screen reader going. I've got mine going. It gets a little bit difficult after a while, you know, with all these voices out in the room. So you sometimes want to make sure that you can, you know, hear it yourself and also not be bothering other people. And that's one reason to have it. Some people don't like the volume out in the room. It just makes sense. So, you know, I think that's the way I would look at it. You know, it's just about cutting back on noise. However, I will say this, actually, just on that point. When the pandemic started and we were all locked down, I remember feeling a sense of freedom having the screen reader out in the room as opposed to constantly in my ears. That was actually quite a nice moment.
I guess that's kind of like walking around your house without your pants on, right? We talked about, obviously, the availability of headsets and all the options that are available these days at different price points. So why don't we dive into some of your favorites? Because I know you've got some there that you want to show to the audience.
I do. So I've been spending money, Mark, probably your money, I don't know. But I spent some money on these. Now, what I should have done, and I didn't do properly, was label them up. But I'm hoping that what I show you in front of me here is actually what I'm talking about. This is the fun bit. So if you can tell, then we're all doing well. But what we have here in its packet is the Plantronics. And I'm starting at a cheaper price, right? Because like I said earlier, I don't think you need to spend a huge amount of money. I've got in my hand here the Plantronics Blackwire 3320 USB headset. Ooh, yeah, I know, the Blackwire 3320. Whatever happened to the 3310? That's the question I have. But here we have USB headset with a boom microphone. That is a fantastic thing, of course, because it comes down the side of your face and means that it's much more comfortable, you know, around you. We're talking around $50 to $60 here. This headset does include buttons for adjusting volume, which of course is great, and that muting and unmuting button as well, which is really good. And what's cool is when you plug this in, you actually get a little audible noise that goes with it. So that's quite cool. So when you press mute, you can hear that you've muted, and then you can hear when you've unmuted. That's quite cool. So there's a Plantronics. That's the Blackwire 3320. Also, I've got here, these are slightly more chunky, but these ones are a little bit more substantial. This is the Sennheiser SC165 USB headset. Again, it's got that boom microphone built in, which is kind of cool. These are around $80. Again, the same kind of idea. You've got the buttons for adjusting volume and muting and unmuting sound. The microphone, though, folds discreetly beneath the headband when not in use, so it's not sticking out. Okay, so I've also got here the Microsoft LifeChat LX3000 in its beautiful cardboard packaging here. This is around $80. Depending on where you go. It can get down to about $60 on sale. This also has the microphone boom. It does stick out a little bit more than perhaps the other one did from Sennheiser. This headset, though, includes integrated buttons for adjusting volume, muting and unmuting sound as well. But it is a much more firmer headset. It also goes over your ear. Goes over your ear entirely, so maybe better if you're in a really noisy environment. Maybe your home environment's pretty noisy. Even at work, it's pretty noisy. This is quite cool as well. So this is the Microsoft LifeChat LX3000, actually one of my favorites. So that is one to consider. So these are all kind of sitting around that price of between sort of $50 to about $80. But you can spend some more money, as I did, on this. This is a bit different. So this is the Samsung Q2U recording and podcasting pack. All right, so this is a pack. This is not a headset. This is a microphone. So think karaoke mic. Think about singing I Will Survive at 3 o'clock in the morning somewhere and holding a microphone, this is what you might have in your hand. But the difference between this and that karaoke mic is it's got a little 3.5mm headphone jack in the back, which means you can use the microphone to do your conversation, to do your talk. Hey, maybe if you want to start a podcast, this is maybe the thing you want to buy. We're talking around $100 here. And what this allows you to do is get a much higher quality audio from your microphone to wherever it's going.
You know, Stephen, for $119, one of my favorites is actually one of the first ones that I used when the pandemic first hit. And I feel like when, back in early 2020, when that pandemic hit, or, this pandemic hit, we put a little bit more focus on the term, audio quality because everybody's working from home in loud environments. This is a Logitech Zone wired headset. So similar to some of the other headsets you have there, it's got 2 ear pads, so you can put it over your head and really kind of submerge yourself. It's got a boom mic that goes up as well. What I like about the boom mic on this one in particular is that when you put it up, it automatically mutes. So you know that you don't have to look for a mute button if you don't want to. You just put the headset up and it mutes. And it gives you voice feedback saying microphone muted. Now, there's no messing with a 3.5mm jack on this one. It's got a USB-C connection and comes with a USB-C to A connector, so you can plug it into any computer. It replaces both your audio, your sound, what you're listening to, and your microphone, and it sounds really good. Plus, if you want, though, it does have that inline control for muting, for answering a conversation, for even pausing music if you want, and of course muting your microphone, which I just said, so I'm repeating myself. But it's one of the ones that I really like. It's only $119. When it first came out, I think it was almost at $199 price point. But the quality is really, really good on this, and Logitech gets that because, they recently made some purchases of companies like Ultimate Ears, and all that technology and all that experience kind of trickles down into headsets like this. But it has a wire, so at the end of the day, if you want wireless, you could get the wireless version, but you're going to end up back with that latency issue, especially if you're using it for your screen reader.
Well, yeah, and I must admit, although I do talk about latency and it is a real problem, some of the higher end headsets are better at it. This sounds like a very good headset. I'm loving the fact you can just push away the microphone and it mutes. That's brilliant, and you do see that on some of the higher end. You don't get that on these cheaper ones here. And you look, the ones I've got here, the Microsoft one, the Plantronics, the Sennheiser, these are not cheap, right? $50 to $80 is not cheap, but it is considerably cheaper than what you've got there. But you do have to accept the fact that you are going to have to physically mute, and you're not going to get the audio quality you're going to get on those higher-end devices.
So I'm curious, you guys at home, what you use for your audio on a daily basis. What microphone, what headset? Let us know. You can contact us at our social media, which we'll put on at the end of the show, and of course, we'll post links to all these headsets on social media as well. Stephen, thank you so much for joining the conversation. Of course, thanks to Matt Ader from Freedom Scientific. And of course, on behalf of everybody, I am Mark Aflalo. We'll talk to you again next week on Double Tap TV.
Thanks for watching Double Tap. Send us your feedback to feedback@doubletaponair.com.
Thanks for watching this Double Tap video. Again, if you're not already subscribed to our channel, hit that subscribe button and don't forget the notification bell. It will help you get notified when we've got a brand new video just like this to share with you.